And it's still there.
And by the way,
I get very shocked.
You get mocked because, being from Nairobi, you haven't bought a Caproti, you haven't built. But those guys, wamejenga, they've got, they've pulled, they've made. So for them, nyi watu wa Nairobi.
Yeah. Where's your Caproti?
They've made headway. They've tried. They've made headway.
They've made
but still.
And now you see, there's this plan to build that the government has to build this. They're calling it affordable housing.
Where are they being built?
Like there's according to Ule PS Hinga, he was saying there's some land that has been given out for that, but the only land
where is this land? What in the Jamhuri for Jammu over there and Nairobi Shokra?
No, apana, because remember it's not only Nairobi, this is across the country. But they're saying the problem is a lot of these developers are only interested in Landia, Nairobi, and within the environs of Nairobi. Because I
don't blame them.
Because they're saying, like they've given, parcels in other parts.
I think it was Marsabit. And people haven't chukuad them.
Yeah, and people and no developer wants to do it.
Wants the tender?
Yeah. So no developer wants it because they feel like they feel I don't know, they somehow feel like it's not going to be profitable. So I think they're trying to work something out.
So if I'm a developer, and you, Gava, are saying, put in your RFP, right? So isn't it based upon X amount, or is it me who comes in, develops, and I'm supposed to make my own money? Is that
so? The thing is the price for this Gava housing is capped. So in places where the developer would get 7 million shillings a unit, they have to sell it for 3 million.
Okay.
So that's where developers are feeling like, why should I expend my energy here for building this where Gava is going to be selling them for 3 million a unit? So there's a limit to how much they can pay me as a developer, rather than go somewhere where you can sell a unit for 7 or even 10 million and you get a bigger chunk. So I think right there is where there's...
But Gava needs to bridge that gap.
But the problem also, Omosh, but the problem also, I believe, is that there's this notion that Nairobi is it.
Okay,
Nairobi is the place.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but then think of it this way. It's profit. You're in for profit.
You could be poor, but the fact that you are living and hustling in Nairobi, ukiwa huko nje, ni kama umetoka wapi? Ni kama ukienda kutembea Ushago na umekuja na tu vitu. The fact that you've come from Nai.
And I think that's
another thing.
That right there, has something to do with poverty because Nairobi, I think, has always been the ambition. Or like this is where we aspire to be.
It's like trying to make if you can make it living in New York, going to New York.
Because growing up,
I'm not saying New York is bad, but
because growing up when mulikuwa watoi, and then you see your relatives who are coming. You grew up Ocha, and then you see your relatives who wametoka Nai, and they're now coming there. So Nai was very aspirational.
Very.
So I think that's part of the reason why some people would be better off, like going back to homes that they have in their rural areas, but wanangangana na Nairobi because they feel like going back ni kind of kama kurudi nyuma.
Me, I used to be bullied by even my own relatives. I mean, not bullied, but unachapwa banta. Ile adwa Nairobi ni moka. Because watu wa Nairobi wakikuja, there's a way you're going to be treated.
Yeah.
You're gonna be served, you're gonna be ushered in.
Yes, you'll be babied.
Like a nonsense. Because umetoka
na Strungi is over.
Strungi ya wapi wewe?
Strungi is over. Itakuwa
maziwa kwanza inakamwa ng'ombe, inakamwa huko. Don't forget that you're bringing in goodies. Unaleta mkate, unaleta kasukari. No, ni madhi ameleta.
Yes.
Lakini sasa wewe mwana mtoto wangu shianashi yakwa.
Yeah.
So you're treated different. So there's that thing of and I think we've discussed this before. There's sort of a kaudo something non-Nairobians feel towards Nairobi people.
There's and that's one that should be a topic on its own, because sometimes when as Nairobians we speak,
because
tutaanza kuambiwa ati nyi mnajiona sijui nini, but then there's a resentment that came with towards people from Nairobi,
of course,
because there was that assumption that that tulikuwa tunajiona sisi ni bora kuliko wale wengine.
Let me add more fuel to the fire. Even here in State 2.
And it's still there.
And by the way,
I get very shocked.
You get mocked because, being from Nairobi, you haven't bought a kaproti, you haven't built. But those guys, wamejenga, they've got, they've pulled, they've made. So for them, nyi watu wa Nairobi.
Yeah. Where's your kafroti? Now, I think so I think
should I add more fuel to the fire?
Wewe add fuel, but mimi ndo napata hiyo fire.
How?
Mimi ndo napata hiyo fire.
How?
I don't know how it happens.
DMs get hot.
Oh, they do.
They get hot.
Sizzling.
But you see, I think and this is just generally with everyone. We can even say, like someone who's grown up in New York and maybe someone who's grown up in Alabama, aspirationally, they're gonna look at things differently. Now,
you're a state spokesman.
No, I'm just trying to be cautious with the language I use. Aspirationally, people are gonna see things differently. Now, unfortunately, some of these things that sometimes people tend to run towards kuonyesha, I have an apartment in Kilimani, or I have this over here and over there. Sometimes there are some that are good, sound financial investments. Some of them, and this is now me speaking financially, some of them are very bad investments, but the investments that give you a lot of social capital. Jamaa ametoka mbali maze, siku hizi ako na apartment Kilimani. So it gives you a certain social capital that you may never have had growing up. But maybe for those of us who might have grown in Nairobi, we sometimes don't see value in having that social capital of being told that you own an apartment in Kilimani.